Hey, what is going on, people of the internet? Welcome to Bonus Stage. We've got Let's Listen. I'm Josh, and of course, I am joined by our wonderful friend, Mark Schimmelbusch, aka Mahn. What's going up, Mahn?
Hey, this is like a homecoming for me. I mean, this is where I started, dude. We did Let's Listen of my Bloodborne album, and then I played on Bonus Stage, and I'm back on Let's Listen again. 14 months later, believe it or not.
Just can't get enough. Oh man! By the way, I have to say thank you for your subscription for 17 months. That's really sweet. Thank you so much.
Yeah. For the audience, we were bantering obviously before the start, and I was like, I should have waited until we actually were like live, and I would have been like, yeah,
that was me. I did that. Yeah.
But I just the reminder popped up in the Twitch chat, and I just couldn't resist pressing buttons. So
Thank you.
Was pressed.
Thank you for pressing buttons, which results in financially supporting the channel. That means a lot. Hello, everybody in chat. We're here tonight to listen and to celebrate your latest album, Mode 8. Tell us a little bit about it, Mark.
So, Mode 8 is my love letter to the music of the Super Nintendo, which was my favorite console I don't know why I'm saying was. It still is. It is
It's
still
dead
my
now,
favorite.
and we have to
Yeah.
speak in past terms now.
Yeah, it is still my favorite gaming console to this day. Obviously, there's a lot of nostalgia attached to it. The music obviously kind of brings up emotions, and hopefully, as we journey through all the songs that we'll be listening to tonight, that similar emotions are brought up among the audience and among the people that I see in chat. I think you folks are of no stranger to the music that you're going to be hearing. It's definitely a mix of some of the more iconic songs, but then there's a couple outliers in there, and we won't skip too far ahead until we actually start listening. But that was kind of well. I started with. I'm sure people have seen the track list by now, but Dancing Mad's on it. And that was actually the first track I did about a year ago. And that track alone took 4 months, which I will probably not do again because it's
You're not going
obviously
to do Dancing Mad again?
or anything of that scope again.
It's a huge undertaking for sure.
It's a huge undertaking. Obviously, it's a technical song. It's like 5 songs in one, and many collaborators, and they were all great to work with. But the logistics were getting very unruly. But everybody that I work with, it just operates with the highest degree of professionalism, and I wouldn't pick those people to work with among the other guests, which we will definitely be getting into. I wouldn't pick to work with them if I didn't think that they would contribute to a final product that I would be proud of. So I want to make sure we definitely shower all the praise and the shout outs to everyone involved. And actually, it's something I was thinking about earlier, like a few days ago, was after I put the Bloodborne album out, Game Grooves wrote a review on it, and one thing that they said was, I don't remember the exact wording, but it said something to the effect of, I would encourage Mark to work with more collaborators. So on the Bloodborne album, I have 4. This time I got 12. So that's a 200% increase.
That's 300%.
So, whatever.
Yeah, it's more.
Yeah, more
collaborators.
More.
Take that, Game Grooves.
We went from 16-bit to 64-bit. So, I watched a documentary about the Jaguar right before I came here, so that's where that comes from.
Oh,
Best marketing campaign ever.
Oh my god. Well, we're gonna have Game Grooves on the channel later, so I will definitely give them what for and let them know, hey, Mark did what you said. Do you have any critiques for Game Grooves that I can pass along to them? Maybe they could make some minor improvements based on your opinion.
I would just like to see Alan more. That's all.
Yeah.
In person.
Okay.
And no, luckily, I got to meet him. I got to meet him at BitGen, and I don't know if he's going to MagFest. I'm assuming he is because it's not far.
Mm-hmm.
But Alan, I'd like to see you more. That's all. That's it.
There we go. Yeah, we'll make sure he gets the message. Oh man. Yeah. Well, like you said, you had 12 collaborators. Yeah, I'm looking ahead to our first listening block, and I don't see any of them on there.
Yeah. Wow, you're coming in hard already. Yeah, the first 2 songs, no collaborators.
Cool.
They're pretty much all packed on the Dancing Mad.
Well, then that means that, of course, then you did produce these songs entirely solo. Do you want to tell us what that's like? Because I mean, I know you as a guitar player, I know you as a bass player. What was the rest of the production side like for you?
Yeah, like Eric says, I've been working with Eric for 5 years now, something like that, maybe 6. I've kind of lost track of time, and we're good friends. And one of the first things he ever told me was, treat every single thing you release as a time capsule. And I still remember him telling me that many, many years ago. And sometimes when I listen to my older stuff, I was like, oh man, that was I was like, what was going on there? But you got to start somewhere. So to come back to your question, I try to do something different each time. And I think I've done that. Like there was when we eventually get to the Earthbound song, there was some stuff in there that was musically and creatively that was definitely different. We won't spoil that. And Masochist, who's in the chat, was very up to the task to play the drums for that because it is not straightforward whatsoever. And but of course he crushed it, because anybody who knows him, he's a total virtuoso on the drums. But I definitely kind of followed some of the stuff from the Bloodborne album, like the orchestral elements, but I brought in a flute player. How about that? and that totally made sense. So that's Gamer of the Winds, who you'll be hearing on the Zelda track later. But then like some of it was also like I didn't want to the Bloodborne album, because of the source material. Like, it's okay, you go hard on the orchestral stuff like all the time. This time I was kind of like, all right, let's use it where it makes sense. There's songs where I don't even use it at all, and it's just kind of like, all right, let's just stick to the basics, like just rock, metal. And the other thing too was like some of my earlier releases didn't really have it didn't really have an arc. Maybe they did a little bit, and obviously with the Bloodborne album being a concept album, like it kind of has to be an arc. This one does too, I think, in a way. So when we get to the first 2 tracks, it's like, all right, like let's go, like lift off. This plane is taking off from the aircraft carrier. We're going to the moon. We're going to Venom or Corneria, whatever. Like we're going places. And then you kind of go down into the pits of hell. And
you shot for the moon and fell into hell.
Yeah, so maybe this really isn't an arc. It's more like a
roller coaster is still a ride. It's still got a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, so then it kind of does this for a while, and then you get to Dancing Mad, and that is kind of a story of its own. And then the last track is like, all right, we did it, fam. We did it. We won. Let's go home. High fives, fist bumps.
You are crazy.
All of the above. Yeah, and I'll explain where that title came from. UN Squadron fans may pick up on that. But we'll explain the title of that song when we get there. I swear I'm not trying to insult my listeners with that title.
No. Well, you've chosen to bookend your album with a couple of UN Squadron tracks, and not like insulting any of your listeners, but the first title is Only a Madman Would Take on This Mission. Do you want to give us a little precursor before we dip into that song to tell us about that title and what it means?
So that is a direct quote from the opening cinematic. It's I can't quote it word for word, but basically it's something like, the fighting in this area is ferocious. Only fate will determine if we live or die. Only a madman would take on this mission. Luckily, they found me. Something I think I got it pretty close, actually. So I really love that line, and because it's from the opening cinematic, and this is the song that plays, I figured it was perfect. And you'll notice that, like, some of the song titles are just lifted straight from the original track, but then there's song titles like Introduction or Staff Roll or Credits, which is not super exciting, and also could be conflated with any other song of the same name. So I decided to kind of go with these more creative, colloquial names for that. So there's this one, there's the last one, which is the bookend, the very end of the other UN Squadron song, and then the Zelda song, which I believe is just called Staff Roll. I decided to call it The Golden Land, and I think that was appropriate for that song, and especially because we'll talk about it when we get there. But so those are the three that where I kind of went off script for song titles.
Right on. Okay, well then I think we are ready to get into our first listening block. We've got these 8 tracks on this Mode 8 album, all paired up. There's Ranja in chat. What's going on? Thanks for the sub, bro. Nice to see you here. But yeah, we're going to get right into it. We're going to listen to Only a Madman Would Take on This Mission from UN Squadron and Space Armada from Star Fox. Let's listen. Heck yes. Lots of love for Beardo, lots of love for Metallica, and I think lots of love for those two tracks, Mark. Really good job. Thank you.
Those are kind of like the to wet everybody's whistle. So yeah.
It's the launch pad for sure.
Yeah, definitely the launch pad, and yes, all the love for Beardo. Well, pretty much anybody who's in the chat right now. Yeah, I'd actually, Nate asked like, what was the inspiration for that clean part in the middle of
Mhm.
Space Armada, and I'm sure there is something, and yeah, my default answer is like Metallica, and which I know Beardo's a huge fan of, but um, I think also like maybe there's some Joe Satriani in there too, and maybe that's also why there was that tapping solo. I mean, not that I'm like trying to emulate Joe Satriani because he's a freaking god. So maybe that's how that ended up in there. And I also was, I really just wanted to make the middle kind of sound very spacey, and luckily the John Petrucci neural DSP amp modeler simulator whatever has some really cool chorus and reverb effects on it, and that kind of created that spacey chorus vibe
Mhm.
that you heard in the middle. And I mean, actually, actually now that I keep verbalizing this whole thing, I guess Nate, what really inspired that middle part was the effect. I heard the effect. I was like, oh, this is like Space Babies or something.
I gotta find a
And it's like,
spot for
okay,
that.
so
Yeah.
like and I always wanted to do a Space Armada cover, and I was like, maybe we'll just kind of throw that in there. So there we go.
Nice, man. And yeah, what about your UN squadron pick there? Tell us a little bit about that song because I don't have any context for the game. I don't know what part of the game that is or what we're visualizing during that part.
Yeah, yeah. Excuse me. So UN Squadron was based on an arcade game. So it's
Yeah,
Capcom,
nice.
based on an arcade game called Area 88. Then it got ported to the SNES, and they renamed it UN Squadron. Um, but the soundtrack is freaking amazing, and I only captured the first and the last songs. There's all the other stuff in the middle, which we're basically missing out on, at least for this event, because I didn't cover those. But there's like not one bad song on that soundtrack. And obviously, like a lot of other video game music, when you put it in the context of what you're doing in the game, like it's great. Like it's like really that sweet spot of the action, and what is happening. It's a shoot 'em up, by the way, and that's already been pointed out, but it's probably good to mention that. It's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up, and when you're like you dive bombing on an aircraft carrier or what. Actually, you're not actually doing that, but something to that effect, where you're fighting these giant bosses and stuff like that. It's like these big epic fights, and like there's really good music that goes with it. So I thought it might be I took a bit of a risk by doing a couple UN Squadron songs. I was like, I don't really know if anybody knows these, but then I know Eric knows them. But then like Nate jumped in on it, and like a bunch of other people said like, oh, you're doing UN Squadron songs. Like, hell yeah. I was like, all right,
You
vindicated.
found your people, yeah.
I found my people. I've always found my people, but now they're just closer people because they like UN Squadron.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I feel like, at least in VGM, like if you take a risk, it's usually rewarded, like it's a pretty supportive community. And of course, like you're gonna find somebody who's played that game and is 100% down for what you're doing with it. So yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, we've got we're moving right along here. We're gonna start to experience some of your collaborators.
Yes.
Yeah, and like it's very topical. We just had, of course, Syndravania on last week for their Castlevania 3 album release, and here you are doing the Torture Room from Super Castlevania 4 featuring Viking guitar. Yeah, tell us a little bit about this.
Okay. Well, before I tell you about the song, it goes without saying that Eric mastered this. He is the only person I use for mastering, and to give all of my stuff a listen after I mix them, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything, and it passes his seal of approval. I need that Viking guitar seal of approval on everything that I do, because to me it does not reach the masses until it has cleared that bar. So yep, Eric did all the mastering as usual, and when I reached out to him a few months ago, I asked him two questions. I was like, hey, I've got this Super Nintendo love letter album going on in my head right now. I'm working on it. Can you master it? And the second question was, I would really love for you to do a guest spot on a Super Castlevania 4 song. And then his reply to those two questions was just yes. He just answered yes. Like that was it. There was no yes and yes. It was just yes. He's doing it. So yeah, that and I mean you're gonna know where his solo is, because he just kind of has, his style, his sound. So he's gonna rip that song apart. And it was obviously, he's a super fan and loves the source material. He was the best person I could think of to do a guest spot for the song. And yeah, by the way, yes, I know we're here like to talk about my album, but I'm gonna have to work backwards a little bit to talk about the Castlevania 3 thing. Like,
Sure, yeah.
probably everybody here has been exposed to it, but if not, just go look up Blood Curse on Spotify or whatever your streaming service is, or Bandcamp. Go listen to that thing. It is just like the heaviest hitters I could possibly think of, and a lot of them are in the chat right now. And I had the opening track on that, which is like a huge honor, and yeah, I had the pressure of setting the stage for everybody else, and I think I did a good job, and people have told me that also. So
I'll second that. Yeah.
so yes, if people you've not checked out that compilation, it came out a week ago. So yeah, go check that out, and then come back, or do it later. Don't go now.
Don't go right
Do it
now.
later.
No, we're gonna listen to a different album right now.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, so Torture Room, and then we have also a music video for Aquatic Ambience. Yeah, and that was released as a single earlier this year. Yeah, super
Yeah,
fun.
let me tell you about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously, everybody knows this song, and like I said at the beginning, there's kind of a, Torture Room is one of those songs from the Castlevania series that I couldn't find any covers of it. I'm sure there's some out there, but I couldn't find any. So, and I've always liked that one, and it's also later in the game, so you may not remember it too much. So I was like, all right, we're gonna do that one, but then we end up into one that almost everybody knows. And and yeah, as Carrie is pointing out, when I did Aquatic Ambiance earlier this year, it became a pretty much a staple of all my live shows. I love playing it live. It's super fun to play live. And one of the Jacob, one of the members of Quicksave, he came up to me after a show. He's like a Donkey Kong super fan, and he was like, "Hey, it'd be really cool if we played that song together." And he was like, "I could play saxophone." And I was like, "Okay, here we go. We're on to something." And he gets his bear sax, and then we played it. And I think there's after we played it together, I was like, "Oh man, like we could do a lot more with this." So so sometime in the future we will play that again. And but that was like the fusion of, real bone crunching riffs with a baritone very jazzy baritone saxophone. So yeah. The one thing I forgot to mention, the album art for this album is based on a scene from Castlevania 4.
Right.
Which is behind you. That's that kind of that in, yeah, there you go. That's that it's like stage 3 dash something, but it's that in the barrel part where they actually use mode 7.
The rotating room, it's called, right?
The rotating room, yeah. And the bit of trivia I gave myself was like, is every game that I pulled a song from this album use mode 7 in some way? I think the answer is no, but I could be wrong. Like I don't think Star Fox used mode 7 because it's all polygons. And but you know what, we don't yeah. So well, whatever, we don't need to like conform to a standard all the time. But yeah, and I also realized the great irony of there was an album called Mode 7 that came out earlier this year, which was like it was a jazz tribute to Super Nintendo songs that Game Groups did. So that was totally a coincidence. I swear I did not rip that off. We'll go with that. That's my side of the story anyway. So
sometimes inspiration is just hanging out there in the ether, and like two different people like pick it up and do something different with it, man. Like, no, yeah, it's all cool. I love Mode 8. Sometimes you just want to have fun with a cool name, and that's all that it needs to be.
Yeah, and the other thing, about taking risks was, I kind of went with the darker theme for the album cover and the art, and I use the same artist. I've been using the same artist for the past 5 years, pretty much. And somebody who might have listened to my Bloodborne album may look at that album cover and be like, "Oh yeah, it's like another like album full of dark, brooding shit," and that's not quite the case. There's definitely a mix of feels with this album, but that was the whole point. And but I had to settle on something with such a variety, and I always loved that stage of the rotating room. That was such an ingenious way of like not only like kind of showcasing the tech capabilities of the Super NES back then, but then just kind of putting in the context of like just going from left to right and just killing skeletons and whipping candles, and it's perfect.
Awesome. Sorry, before I let you slip on that, the name of that artist who did your wonderful art for both of these most recent albums.
Yes, his name is Suck Zero, and he is not active on social media. I actually just found him on a site called 99 Designs. So it's just a place where artists post their portfolios, and then you look for something like whatever, like you say, I'm looking for an album cover, and he is who I came across 5 years ago, and that's it. And we just started talking. And the first album cover he did was for Spears and Hammers, which was the Dark Souls theme one, and I was super impressed. Obviously, that I ended up getting into a little bit of trouble with Spotify for copyright violation for that album cover. Oh. So it's not quite widely available on certain streaming services. But lesson learned. And then I used him for almost every release after that. And when he did the Bloodborne one, I was just like really floored. But that was also when I told him like, hey, like this is like the opus. Like you have to put all your energy into this. And he delivered. And then we came to this one, and I was like, okay, you know how I roll, right? And so let's do that again.
Literally, how you roll inside the barrel room. Oh god.
Yeah. See, you're picking up on it, Josh. You're picking up on it. For this album, luckily it was an easier lift for him because I didn't do physical CDs this time. This is just a digital only release, so he only had to do a cover and not the whole thing. One day I will do a vinyl. I will do a vinyl, but that's a future project.
Right on. Well, coming right back around to your current project, why don't we start letsing and listening to our next segment here. This is Torture Room from Super Castlevania 4, featuring Viking guitar, followed up by a lovely music video of Aquatic Ambience from Donkey Kong Country. Let's listen. I agree. Nate. Mark, if you play that live again, you need to do it in the snorkel suit. I mean, just like take your time. Be like, okay, guys, hey, I'm not going to announce what's on next. You're just going to have to figure it out. But I got to go do a costume change, and then yeah. Oh my god, like shifting sideways. Sorry, my camera's being weird. Dude, awesome tracks. Yeah, Torture Room. Dan has just been
Definitely
ripping up
Dan bringing the heat, man.
He's MVP of puns right now. That's for sure. Oh my god. Yeah, but that was purely enjoyable. And and Eric's got to run. Thanks for swinging
Thanks,
by.
Eric.
Thanks,
Round of
Eric.
applause for Eric. This is a good exit because he just killed the solo in Torture Room and obviously the mastering on the album. So later, Eric, and also thank you again.
Right on, man. And then yeah, aquatic ambience. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think of like how many covers I've heard done quite in that style, and yeah, none are ringing the bell at the moment. I just love the just like get heavy with it and fuck, it's so good.
Yeah, like I said, that's a fun song to play live. And now, yep, I should probably bring it at least the mask and the snorkel with me. I'm not sure about the actual full wetsuit, but
The full wetsuit. Well, you had a story about that actually.
I do,
think.
yeah. So, there was we had some landscaping work done, and we agreed to let a photographer come, and the landscaping company said, "Hey, can we send a photographer to your place and just take some pictures of the landscaping so we could use it for a portfolio?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." So I was the only one at home when he came over, and I'm shooting the video while he's outside. So I'm in my scuba suit, and then he starts knocking on the door, and because he had a question, so it's like I have to answer the door, and I'm wearing my scuba suit, and I'm like, why am I wearing a scuba suit in my house? So I just said, you know what, this guy's a photographer. He's probably seen some things. So it's like, okay. And so I come out and we just have a totally normal conversation. I'm sure somewhere in the back of his brain, he's like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? and then I'm in the middle of shooting, and then he came back 2 more times to ask me some other questions. And I don't know, maybe he was trying to figure out who I was as a person, or I don't know. Now that I'm reflecting on this, it's a little unsettling, but yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, all right, this is my craft, and I'm just going to own it. Like, this is who I am, and you, Mr. Stranger, are going to be a part of it, whether you like it or not.
Oh man, no, I love that. Just own it, man. This is who I am, a man in a wetsuit. Just yeah, you don't need to justify it. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I could have taken that a little. And by the way, I mean, I actually used to scuba dive, so I wouldn't say I've quit. I just haven't put a lot of focus into it lately. But that scuba gear has been sitting in my closet for probably 5 years, and then I was like, all right, I'm doing a music video of aquatic ambience, and it's like I should bust it out. And I did. I could have taken a step further and like put like the actual the BCD on, which is like the inflatable thing that you put air into so you can go up and go down and controls your buoyancy. Like I could have put that on too, but then it was like really heavy. So and I was like, I'm trying to like stay mobile during the shooting of this video, so I put the kibosh on that. And I was thinking of other ways, like because you see me wearing kind of the pink button down collared shirt with the pineapples on it. Like I was trying to like think of some other ways to just go really, really extra. But I was lacking in props, and I was like, you know what, I got to shoot this thing anyway. Let's just get it done. So, but it, like Eric says, it's a time capsule. That's what I did back in the summer.
Yeah.
I got in a scuba suit and I performed my craft.
Well, I like the point was made. Like, I don't know how many scuba enthusiasts there are in the VGM scene, but I'm sure people see you in a wetsuit with the mask on, and they're like, "That's good enough." I think he's going underwater. Oh my god! Right on. Sorry,
it's really interesting when you meet people in the community and you find out what their other interests are, and so and yeah. I was I shouldn't be saying was I still am a scuba diver. It's just I haven't done it in a long time, and used to do it regularly. And where I live, excuse me, in Northern Virginia, there's not really good places to scuba dive. You kind of have to you have to like really get down towards some warmer waters and clearer waters. All we have around here are quarries with like wreckages of cars and stuff. It's not really all that interesting.
Oh man. Well, maybe as part of your post-album production rest and recreation plan, you can make some time for some scuba diving. That sounds very restful and recreational.
Yeah, I will need that. Yeah, I was um for the audience, I was chatting with Josh beforehand, and I was like, after Magfest, I got to take a break. I've been going a little too hard, a little too long. It's I need to kind of recharge my creative batteries, or else I will go bankrupt. But then once that is done, I have things, which we'll talk about that a little bit at the end. So.
Yeah. Of course, we got some shout outs to do for sure. We have a shout out, a couple of shout outs coming up for this next block, actually, because we are going to be listening to Pokey Means Business, famously from Earthbound, and that features Masochist in chat. And then we've got The Golden Land from The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. That is the staff roll, and that one features Gamer of the Winds. What can you tell us about these tracks, Mark?
Yeah, so interesting bit of trivia about Pokey Means Business, and it's in air quotes because that song actually doesn't have a title. Pokey Means Business is actually the unofficial name of it. So I just adopted it here. And I was debating whether to talk about this, but I've never played Earthbound. So you may as well get your torches and pitchforks out now.
Nerd cred is destroyed.
My nerd card has been revoked. So maybe I should play that game during my break. Okay, Carrie is
while you're underwater scuba diving. Yes, of course.
Yeah, I figured I would be riling some people. There's going to be a riot. It's like, okay, I'm going to try to play Earthbound next month. Try to make up for my mistakes and get him up out of here. But anyway, this song, I heard it a few times, and it's obviously natively pretty heavy, but it swerves a lot. Like there's different parts, and pretty distinct from all of the other parts. And like the introduction is just that. It's just an introduction, and you never hear it again.
Yeah.
And then the song kind of goes left and right. So then I decided, all right, Leo, I'm going to go up and down. So I wrote parts for this song that tried to kind of stick to that spirit. And that is also when I pulled together the drum arrangement, and I was like, all right, I need somebody who can really crush the drums. And I already had something programmed, but I was like, I had already worked with Angel, Masochist. I'd worked with him on the Castlevania track, so I was like, all right, let's try something else. And this was obviously much more technical and more difficult, but I'd seen him play some really tough songs, like when he can bust out like all this death metal stuff that you see in his session videos. I was like, he can do this. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, he did. And it's you're gonna hear some masterful drumming in our rendition of this song. And then and then we get to the Golden Land, which is the staff roll from Link to the Past, and it's a very, very stark contrast from Pokey Means Business. This is like very punch you in the face type. It's a punch you in the face type song, and then you get to this one, which is like, you start getting the feels. And I have to give credit to Carrie for connecting me to a Gamer of the Winds. I said I need a flute player, and so she taps him on the shoulder, and like he turned it around so quick. He was so easy to work with. I said, here it is, and I gave him the sheet music and everything, and he took care of it in very, very quick order. So he was super cool to work with. And his performance here is excellent. Like he will be front and center in certain parts of that song, and I really think it rounds it out. So like, when I said I try to do new things for every album, and I think this was it. I had never really incorporated flute into any of my arrangements, and to be fair, that is in the original song, but I was like, could I replace that with something else like a guitar? I was like, no, let's just stick to what Koji Kondo actually intended. So I hope you enjoy these two songs, folks.
Right on. Well, yeah, this is Pokey Means Business from Earthbound featuring Masochist, and The Golden Land from The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past featuring Gamer of the Winds. Let's listen. Oh, yeah, I am thoroughly chilled out. That was gorgeous. Oh man.
Yeah, and obviously, you get your blood pumping with the Earthbound song, and then it's like, all right, now we relax. So, um, obviously Gamer of the Winds did an awesome job. Masochist did an awesome job, and yeah, music is just more fun with friends. And yeah, again, shout out to Carrie who like very very quickly connected me to Gamer of the Winds because I don't know a lot of flute players. I only know like one. So, um, and that's what's so good about the community. It's like, hey, everybody's willing to help in some way, shape, or form, and that really really goes a long way. Because hey, I wouldn't have gotten as far as I have without people helping me. Whether it's guitar playing or finding collaborators, and then all the mixing and mastering work that I've done with Eric. So yeah, I can go on and on about this and get very emotional, but
Oh.
we're just gonna move on.
Okay. Well, if we're moving on, then we're moving on into probably the most collaborators that you've worked with on a single track. So here come the emotions.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, this is Dancing Mad, and I did release this as a single earlier this year, and it was really good to kind of go back and watch the video for this because well, let's see. In the chat, we've got Dan who was on this song. I'm scanning. Oh, there's Ian. Ian's still here, so he was on this song. I That might be it.
I think that's it for
So
representation here
that's it
tonight.
for representation. But you guys are carrying the collaborator party here. So here the thing about this the song obviously is it's pretty technical. There's a lot of different parts, and it's a I mean, it took me a month just to learn my parts. And of course, I talked to Dan, and he was like, "If you didn't give me like tabs for this, I would have gone insane." So this was a project where I was very surgical in like telling people, "Here's what you're doing," and because there were so many people involved, it's like I didn't want to leave a lot of wiggle room and all that fun stuff. But when it got to doing the video, I couldn't have been more proud of everybody, not only because everybody showed off their virtuosity, but everybody had fun. And you're gonna see some real goofiness, kind of everyone kind of taps into their goofy side or their fun side, I think, in some way in this video.
Mhm.
I Dan definitely carries the video in terms of all of the different facial expressions that he's making.
Yeah.
Gunderslam is just having an awesome time rocking out. Lauren the Flute, who's on this, cosplayed for it. Yeah, I deliberately took myself. I kind of like made myself not the focus of this
Mhm.
video. Like this was the opportunity for other people to shine. So yeah, this was despite all the work that it took to not only put the track together, get the collaborators, and get everything mixed and produced and mastered, and then the video, which again took 4 months. I'm super happy with it. I don't know if I would do a single project of that magnitude ever again because I really wanted to work on the rest of the album after this, and it was like, okay, it's like we're kind of actually one thing I will give credit for to what actually got me to finish the song and move on was Dwelling in Duels. They had a free month, and I was like, all right, we're just gonna finish the song for free month so I can move on.
Hard deadline. You can't argue with it. Yeah.
Can't argue with a hard deadline, and I needed that. I needed that to say, okay, we're gonna finish this thing. And then okay, so you said in the chat during the last song, it's like you took a risk by putting a staff roll in the middle. Well, we got a real staff roll song, and it's short and sweet. It closes out UN Squadron, and this is kind of like the yeah we did it, we that's that feeling. And the title "You Are Crazy" it's sort of like an Easter egg. So if you stick around for after the credits, after the staff roll of UN Squadron, there's like another sequence where that message like slowly gets spelled out on the screen. And I don't remember that as a kid. Like I think after the credit roll, like I just shut the SNES off, or I just walked away or something, so I
Yeah.
didn't stick
Game's
around for it.
done.
And then
I'm out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then, I watched, I just watched a YouTube video of the ending, and then I saw that sequence. I was like, "I don't remember this," and then you see kinda see "You Are Crazy" being spelled out. I was like, "That's the song. That's what we're gonna call it."
Oh, that's beautiful. Sometimes a creative decision, that's all it needs to be. Just something beautiful and simple, like "You Are Crazy."
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is a big chunk. We've got 14 minutes of music. So yeah, let's get into it. We've got "Dancing Mad" from Final Fantasy VI and "You Are Crazy" from UN Squadron. So
Alright.
let's listen.
I'm not even in the choir here. You're invisible.
Well, I'm not crazy, but you are crazy. That was amazing and beautiful and visually stunning all around. What a great way to wrap up this album, Mark. Yeah, and congratulations. Thank you to all of your collaborators as well. They all did an incredible job. Yeah, that last track is just like 100% positive vibes. Like you kicked Kefka in the nuts, you know, and we're all good here. Go home.
Yeah, you shot him out of the sky with a missile, and then like your F-14 Tomcat is just cruising by the aircraft carrier, and then you're giving a thumbs up. That's exactly what's happening. And like, thank you to the chat, obviously, for providing this visual imagery.
Oh
So,
my god. Oh, that's beautiful. Ah, well, I mean, what's there left to say about this album, Mark? What do you want to tell us?
well, I can't thank everybody enough for everybody involved. Like I said, there were 12 other collaborators, and especially for those of you who are in the chat, thank you for going on this musical journey with me. For those of you, especially who were on the Dancing Mad track, like we started on that a year ago. Like, yikes! So it takes some real perseverance and trust to kind of stick with me through this stuff. This was after I finished the Bloodborne album, like I already started thinking about this one. And I remember telling Nate at Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, not this year, but last year, I was like, I want to do a Dancing Mad cover. He's like, you haven't even put out your Bloodborne album yet. Like, what the It's like, come on, man, take a break.
Priority.
So yes, this was definitely something I had in the incubator for a while, and I it was definitely kind of like a logical next step after Bloodborne, but then like what am I going to do now? It's like I said, I was going to take a break, and I got some other stuff cooking, and things I really can't quite get into yet. But y'all know me, and you follow me on social media. You know where to find me. So we'll at least talk about what's coming up in the short term. But I
Yeah.
can't thank you enough, Josh, for having me on the show again. Like I said, this was a homecoming. I love sharing my music with you and everybody, really. And rest assured, when I'm out there performing, and yeah, I have to credit you for helping me perform too, because my first performance as a VGM artist was here on bonus stage. So, but rest assured, when I'm out there, I'm at my next show, you're going to hear some of this stuff. I've already picked a couple, maybe 2 or 3 of these tracks, aside from Aquatic Ambience, which I think would be a good crowd pleaser. So, yes, more gigs in 2023, and yeah, massive shout out to Carrie, who's done super, super awesome and kind of working the gig scene in Baltimore and helping me get on some bills there.
Oh my God. Yeah, friends helping friends. Well, I mean, speaking of gigs, yeah, let's talk about them a little bit. You are going to be there at MagFest.
Yes. Okay. So I have 3 things going on. This is my 10th MagFest, that I have never done anything official until this coming one. So the first thing I'll tell everyone is this is like the public announcement. This has not been announced, but we can tell everybody now. So I will be doing a panel called Genre Blending in VGM, and Carrie's going to be on it. The other people on it will also be Tara, who you obviously saw in the Dancing Mad video and has collaborated with me, and of course the illustrious Ann Cowell, aka Hyrule Herb. So they were, when I came up with this topic, they were the best people I could possibly think of to speak with me on how they take different genres and obviously pull source material from video game music and then just bring it all together. And we're super, super excited to talk about, how we do it, but then there's even going to be some other surprises in there. So I'm going to say, if you're going to MagFest, I hope you go. So it is at 7:30 p.m. on Friday. And of course, I will continue to announce that on social media just to remind everybody, but I am super, super looking forward to that panel. Just so we can all kind of share our love of our craft, but then also kind of flex a little bit. So
Yeah, I agree. Ian, someone please record that.
Yeah, my
really
understanding
fun.
is that MagFest does try to record the panels. I don't know if they do all of them, but yeah, at least we can at least record it ourselves. I think that's an easy ask.
Mm-hmm. Right on. And then yeah, what else? I mean, you've got a couple of performances as well, don't you?
Yeah. Okay. So the next one is something that was just announced on Saturday. So Gunderslam, who you saw in the Dancing Mad video, is playing at a Jam Space showcase, which has been dubbed Chug Space Emissary, which is a nod to the Smash Brothers Melee theme.
Yeah.
That whole event is going to be 3 hours long. Going to be at 9 p.m. on Friday at the Jam Space. Who will also be there is Ro Panaganti, which he has called the Ro Panaganti Prague Experience. He has put together a full band. Gunner Slam's put together a full band. It'll be me, him, Adam Payne from Night of the Round, and then Rocky, or Rock Drummer, who you saw in the Dancing Mad video as well. And then Pokerist Project, being Chilean metal coming to America, will also be at that event. So yeah, I hope everybody comes to that. And then the last thing, and I have been given permission to talk about this, but it's already been kind of revealed publicly. Lauren the Flute will be playing at the Belvedere Lobby Bar at 3 p.m. on Saturday. I will be accompanying her on some songs with acoustic guitar. It was kind of funny when we started talking about it. She was like, you can't do any, you're not really supposed to do anything heavy for this, right? I was like, yeah. I think you almost kind of perceived me as this guy that just plays nothing but heavy music. So
I mean, that is what we've been hearing a lot of from you.
It's like I could play acoustic guitar. I could hold my own. It's not my go-to instrument, but I can do it. So so I'm really, really excited for that. I was a fan of the Returners when I first heard them perform at PAX South 2016. So it's super cool to play with her and to play at that part of the Gaylord in that atrium. I'm just visualizing, and also in my head and in my ears what my acoustic guitar would sound like as it just kind of echoes through the atrium, and I put a little bit of chorus on it. Like, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. No reverb needed. No,
No reverb needed, but it's gonna be a little bit of chorus. You gotta have a little bit. That's
Oh, yeah.
that's just how
Just
I
thicken it
like
up a
it.
little. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thicken it up, kind of get all that detune stuff going. Yeah, that's the feel I'm going for. So yeah, Magfest, very, very busy. But I am going to enjoy every single minute of it. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. If you can't make it, I know Josh, you will not be able to make it, but you will be sorely missed. But everybody will be hanging hard and enjoying it in everyone's honor who could not make it.
Definitely. Well, and I think I don't know if they broadcast the Belvedere stuff, but
To my knowledge, they don't. I know they broadcast Main Stage, but I don't
Yeah.
think they broadcast Belvedere.
I've seen recordings of Belvedere though, and
Yeah,
so,
there's definitely going to be recordings. Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
yeah. Right on. Yeah. Any other things coming up in the spring that you want to talk about?
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering if you were gonna have me talk about it or you were gonna talk about it. And you got a cat friend.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go. But I'll tell you what, Josh. I'll meet you halfway on this.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we have something coming up in March. Some heavy hitters from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area are going to be getting together at the Quick Cave for a collaborative show on a certain stage that you may know. So, Josh, you can take it from there.
Okay, a certain stage that you may know, huh? Let me think. Don't know any. No, just kidding. Yeah. So we are going to be having our March show is going to feature 3 bands in the same space. We've got Mahn, we've got Steel Samurai, and we've got Quick Save, and that is going to be a triple threat live set. Well, maybe not all consecutively. We'll see how the logistics of that play out. But yes, I am starting to line up the lineups for the new year, and yeah, going as far ahead as March, and knowing that you 3 are all like in the same geographical reasonable area makes that really awesome. Easy to tie you in. I love having people with just the same setup. It makes things so much easier for me, and of course I know that all of you are going to kill it, and you've all like got your own different sounds, so it's not just like, hey, we're gonna get Mike with like the 5 metal bands that he's in on the bill. No, like it's gonna be a real treat having all 3 of you acts on the bonus stage and in a live format. Actually, it's been a while since we've had Steel Samurai as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing them perform live again. They actually performed last time they were on the show. They were in a barn, and that was incredible. So yeah, I can't wait to see them performing in the Quick Cave. I can't wait to see you performing in the Quick Cave, Mark, and of course Quick Save in the Quick Cave. That's a poem that writes itself. Yeah, and I mean, like, that's as much as I have to say about it. Do you have any other stuff? I mean, like, between Magfest and that, you've got like 3 months, so you should have enough time to go snorkeling or scuba diving or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, I will be after Magfest. I will be taking a break. There are some other things in the hopper that I'm working on, which I can't talk about yet, but I do plan on disconnecting myself a little bit from the world of music, because I could use the break. But yeah, I super look forward to the bonus stage show, because I haven't met everybody in Steel Samurai, so it'll be super cool to hang out. And I think more than anything, yeah, we're going to be all performing together, but it's really kind of the hanging out before and after is the other half of that equation, which you can't miss. And I couldn't help but laugh when Carrie said, no, we got a budget an hour to do shots. So I was like, oh boy, here we go.
That's afterwards, Carrie. That is after. You just you hold on dearly to your professionalism for bonus stage, please. Right on. Wow, whatever. Okay, you are banned from the channel. No, just kidding. We love everything you're doing here, Carrie. But yeah, I think that brings us to the wrap up. Mark, yeah, Mode 8,
Yeah.
folks. Definitely, if you have not already purchased this wonderful album, definitely do so. Support Mon, support his recreational recuperating activities. We want to make sure he's got gas to get to a warmer ocean for that scuba experience. And you can help him out by donating, what is it, $8 USD to the arts of Mon today and tomorrow and Bandcamp Friday, whenever that happens as well. Yeah, Mark, super honored to have you back on the show, man. I know you like sing my praises and be like, oh, you gave me my start, and like seriously, dude, what you do is like top notch, and it is such a privilege to have you here on the show sharing your craft with us all. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And I know we were bumping this up close to the holiday, so I appreciate you doing it. At like as we were like ready to like everybody's ready to disappear.
Oh no, that's no perfect. Yeah, and a great stocking stuffer, I should add. Yeah, put a digital download code in your fellow metalheads stocking.
Hey, I'm just saying, I still got some Bloodborne CDs if you want to like stock the stuffing with that. So
oh, stock the stuffing. Whoa, oh man.
Okay, that did not go the direction I intended.
I mean, I've heard of people putting sausage in their stuffing before, but blood sausage. Oh,
okay,
man.
we're getting way off track. This is not what I expected, Josh.
I'm sorry. We were just.
This is a family show.
I dropped an F-bomb like in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know if anybody has their kids watching. I hope you've prepared them and are doing proper parenting. But I am gonna make a good parenting decision and get this show moving along. Yeah, folks, thank you so much for showing up here tonight. We have another listening party before the year ends. We've got Game Grooves. We're gonna see more of Alan. We've got Game Grooves coming on to share their tribute to Celeste called Over the Summit. It's a short EP, about 6 tracks, but we've had them on several times this year already, just having them for their community album. So we look forward to that. We're going to be hosting that on the 29th here on Bonus Stage. So yeah, follow us on social for updates on that. Definitely follow Mahn, Mark Schimmelbusch here on socials for updates on his restful period. And yeah, we'll say goodnight for now. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
God, he's so. He doesn't